All right. What is going on, everybody? Farzin Vasugian here with you. It is Sunday morning. We don't often do these pregame live chats this early, but today is a different day. It's Championship Sunday. Chiefs play at 2 p.m. Central. So obviously we got to do this a little earlier than we usually do. Welcome in. Welcome in. Good morning to all of you. Probably very early for some of you out in the West Coast, but I think everyone's adjusting, getting up, getting ready for the big game. How are you guys all feeling? I'm feeling pretty good. I went into last week not nervous at all, and I said that. So I'm excited. I really am. This is a Chiefs team that a lot of people wrote off about 5-6 weeks ago, and here they are. They're in a position that not a lot of people, even in Kansas City, thought they would be in. And out of the 32 teams that we have in the NFL, 28 are out. The Chiefs are not one of those 28. The Chiefs are one of the 4. They are in the final 4 of the NFL, and they are getting ready to play the Baltimore Ravens. If they want to go to the Super Bowl, they have to win back-to-back road games. Obviously, that was a huge deal going into last week, and Patrick Mahomes and all the media he had been doing kept getting asked, hey, Patrick, you've never played a road game before, in case you haven't heard already. And he just shrugged it off like it was no big deal. Even Andy Reid in the press conference, now, whether you believe him or not is a separate conversation, but he even said that that's not something they even talk about whenever he was asked about the whole road playoff game thing. So this is now a situation where the Chiefs are now on the road, 2 games in a row. Obviously, they're used to hosting the AFC title game, but hey, we all knew that streak was going to come to an end at some point, and this is the game where that tends to be the case. Just some keys from me going into this game. Quick look, first of all, the weather for this game. According to all these weather reports, there's a 17% chance of rain at kickoff with winds at 9 to 10 miles per hour. And it's going to stay that way, the wind that is. But then the rain certainly expected to start after kickoff. So they're thinking it will rain at some point, probably not at kickoff, but before the game ends, you'll definitely see some showers at M&T Bank Stadium. So that is what's expected in Baltimore. But as far as the game itself, here's something to keep in mind. Lamar Jackson this season, he has thrown the 17th most pass attempts for a starting quarterback this year, which isn't really a lot. I mean, it is a lot if you compare it to standards from, 10, 20 years ago. But being 17th in the NFL, obviously that's, especially if you play a full season, give or take one game if you rest the starters and whatnot, which the Ravens did. Being 17th in pass attempts isn't a lot. But when you consider that they've had the 17th most pass attempts, they've allowed the 9th most sacks in the NFL. The Ravens did, to Lamar Jackson specifically. This is a very good run blocking offense, but not a good pass blocking offensive line. So if you're the Chiefs, the biggest and most important thing in this football game is stop the run and force 3rd and long situations, because that is not a situation that the Baltimore Ravens want to be in. If the Chiefs can create those kinds of situations, kind of like how they did last week, and not to say that Josh Allen and the Bills are worse at passing than the Ravens, but they did have some issues when they were forced to go on 3rd and long. They were 7 of 14. They were forced to throw it that many times on 3rd and long, because that's just the situation they found themselves in so many times. The running game, as good as it was, they kind of got away from it at that time. And that's a team that didn't allow any sacks. Lots of pressures, but no sacks. And the pressure certainly made a difference, because Allen at times unable to find guys in the end zone. And, with as mobile as Josh Allen is, you would think he would kind of get away. Because the whole thing with him overthrowing Shakir in the end zone late in the game before the missed field goal, Yeah, Chris Jones was pushing the left tackle into him, but you can also move. I mean, Josh Allen has legs. He's one of the more mobile quarterbacks in the NFL, so he certainly should have had better awareness about that. That, to me, falls on Josh Allen. You cannot overthrow open guys in the end zone like that. Mahomes had a couple of those last week as well. Where on the corner route to Kelsey, yeah, maybe if he brought it down lower, it probably would have been intercepted. But the one on the next play to Marquez Valdez-Scantling on the right side, that definitely should have been brought down lower. Overthrew him when he had an opportunity to get the ball to him. So I think ultimately, by the way, real quickly, because Bills fans, I'm still seeing it online. They're still criticizing the kicker, Tyler Bass. Why is it that Josh Allen, overthrowing an open guy in the end zone when he should have hit him? I don't care if there was a pass rush there. You definitely should have moved out of the way. That's called awareness, and you should have hit that guy in the end zone. How come the defense, when the game was not over yet after the missed field goal, how come no one criticized the defense for not coming out away with a stop? I don't get the criticism sometimes from sports fans. It's always interesting to me. All right, I see a lot of you guys are here in the chat. Okay, good to see all of you. Good morning. Let's go. Let's go. We don't do a lot of morning live streams. Lisa's nervous. Tone says Chiefs by 2 scores. Yeah, Tommy, that's a very good point. Spags and the Spies. Yeah, you're gonna need those. And here's the thing: Baltimore is not like some big threat. You mentioned the passing downs. Baltimore's not a threat in that area. But man. And I understand Willie Gay went out last week with an injury, and there's some, I guess it's 50-50 if he'll play. We'll find out in a couple of hours. But even if Willie Gay's not playing, I do think you have linebackers on this team that are very capable of being the QB spy. I mean, Leo Chenal, I think that guy's capable of it. And I think Leo Chenal is a much tougher hitter than Willie Gay. So, Willie Gay is great. Don't get me wrong, but I think the middle linebackers certainly can handle that as well. So you got to be ready for a lot of things if you're the defense. Don't bite into the play action. They will 100% do it. The option plays, I mean, they're going to pull all of those tricks out of the bag because this is the best defense the Ravens will face. And I'll say this, even though the Chiefs, yeah, they faced a lot of great offenses this year. They have faced a lot of teams that have great wide receivers, and the Chiefs have done a great job shutting a lot of. Name a top tier wide receiver that went off on the Chiefs this year. I mean, the Chiefs have handled a lot of those guys this season with ease too. And that's the beauty of this defense is they've got great players on the defensive line, at the linebackers positions, and in the secondary, which is something we haven't seen with this defense in quite some time. We had that under Bob Sutton with, Holly Houston, Derek Johnson, the linebackers, and then up front you had guys like Alan Bailey, DeVito, Dontari Poe obviously anchored that defensive front right there. And then the secondary, I thought you had some underrated guys. Eric Berry, obviously a lot of people know, but then guys like Ron Parker, Sean Smith. Sean Smith honestly reminds me a lot of L'Jarius Sneed. He really does. But for whatever reason, even though those guys were all great, as a unit, they just didn't tend to play well. And I think that was the most frustrating part about this defense at that time. So Josh Allen did step up for a Tyler Bass, though. Oh, okay. Chris Jones will have a monster game today. Robert, I know why you're saying that. He's got $1 million on the line. Got 1 million George Washington bills on the line in this game. Yeah, you should have a big game. The last time Chris Jones had a big game was against the LA Chargers. And yeah, I know there were a lot of backups in that game, but in 2.5 quarters, Chris Jones had like a personal record for most pressures in a game. So listen, man, I've said for years, if pro sports, if the salaries were determined by in-game performance, oh boy, you would see a lot of great performances. But anyway, yeah, I expect a big game from Chris Jones. Pressure from the middle. Excuse me. Pressure from the middle, and then get it over to the Lamar Jackson's probably going to start running to the side. And that's where you got to hope your QB spies are going to be ready in that one, because that will for sure make the difference in this football game. And listen, even when Lamar Jackson did have pressure last week against the Texans edge rushers did a fantastic. The Texans pass rushers did a fantastic job of trapping him in the pocket, not allowing him to escape when he wanted to. That second quarter, man, was a great quarter for the Texans defense, and I thought the Texans could maybe build off that in the second half, but unfortunately couldn't. And I think experience played a part in that. And unlike the Texans defense, which I think is a great defense, don't get me wrong, it's just the Chiefs at the end of the day, they're just more experienced. You look all across the board with this defense, they just have better playmakers that can get the job done. And listen, the defense has to play much better. I brought that up before, because you only have 2 sacks this postseason. 2 of them are on Tua. All of them are on Tua. Not on Josh Allen. I do think in the Bills game, the Chiefs did use their secondary more to blitz, and I brought that up a lot in the last week. So hopefully the Chiefs can be better about that kind of thing. A little nervous about this game, but with fingers crossed and a prayer, we come out with a win. Let's go Chiefs. Yeah. Carl Loftus, I would say, would need to step up for sure in this game. Not that he's a bad pass rusher, but a little quiet last game. A little quiet. Yeah, a lot of you guys are excited and nervous at the same time. It's what happens when you're in the AFC Championship game. 1 a.m. Robert. Yeah, Robert, you're down under. That's right. I've said this so many times. Shout outs to all of you Chiefs fans overseas, or even non-Chiefs fans who tune into football games, living in the UK, Australia, Japan. I've had comments from people in so many different countries outside of North America. So props to you guys. You guys either have to wake up very early or stay up late, and assuming you guys all have work the next day. Those two things do not go well together. We all know that. And here's what I will say, Deb. You mentioned that. I think the team needs to get off to a faster start, especially on the defensive side of the football. The Chiefs defense is guilty of getting off the slow starts in some games this year. So if they can be better about that, I think a lot of people would feel pretty comfortable about this Chiefs team in this game. Why did Tooney travel with the team? Is he going to play? Janice, he is not expected to play. However, a lot of times, even if a player is hurt, they still do travel with the team, because that is just something you do. You travel with the team. Now, there have been some situations where guys do stay back. And, I don't know certain determinations, even if a guy is 100% ruled out, why do some guys travel? Why do some not? I don't know. I think it's the postseason. I think Tooney still wants to be there with the team if they win in advance of the championship. I mean, do you want to be here in Kansas City in your home, just you and your family? Not that anything's wrong with family, or would you rather be with your team celebrating this big moment? So that's probably why. I know there have been some players who don't travel and they'll tweet sometimes during games. So yeah, we've seen that before. Spags on a cook. Let him cook, man. We spent a lot of time talking about the Chiefs defense against the Ravens offense. But we got to kind of shift gears and talk a little bit about the Chiefs offense here, because they're going to be facing a defense that is very different this time around. And I'll go back to the Chiefs defense, because I know a lot of people are talking about that in the chat here. To me, with this Chiefs team, offensively speaking, just play your game. Just play your game. Don't overcomplicate things. Don't make things more difficult than they need to be. For example, some of the trick plays they ran in the Raiders game where, it led to the 7 seconds of disaster of 2 defensive touchdowns. Be better about that kind of thing. Last week with McCole Hardman, I mean, you're right. You have Isaiah Pacheco and Clyde Edwards-Helaire who are having a great game, both of them. And you're taking the ball away from their hands and you're letting McCole Hardman. Why? I mean, and look, listen, I like McCole Hardman. I think he's done some good things during his time in KC. But unfortunately, he's just not that guy anymore. And I don't say that with pleasure or anything. A lot of people were hoping he would thrive. I still remember when they drafted him, it was a lot of people thought it was in fear that Tyreek Hill might not ever play again because of the child abuse allegations he was going through at the time. So this is one of those situations where, look, just be smart about the things you do, from play calling to the decision making from the players on the field. Be smart about everything you're doing. And Patrick has been much more careful with the football in the postseason. I think I saw on Nick Wright's show on FS1, First Things First. I think he put up a stat, Mahomes' postseason career numbers: 33 touchdowns and 3 picks. I did not have a chance to look at that, but that sounds about right. So that is going to be very important going into this game, is go out there and don't do stupid things. Sean says, yeah, you're not wrong. Josh Allen missed a few crucial throws and didn't throw underneath when he could have. Yeah, that Diggs was wide open there, man. And then you mentioned Diggs dropping passes. Yeah, look, Josh Allen's great, but the turnovers, man, that's like the first thing I always point to, and Buffalo Bills fans get angry about that. And those same Buffalo Bills fans are nowhere to be found, by the way. Again, no shocker. People don't bring the same energy after a loss. But my whole thing with Josh Allen is now he finds himself constantly losing to Patrick Mahomes. Let me just say something right now about this whole Josh Allen thing and Mahomes and the trade. If Buffalo does not trade that 10th pick to Kansas City does not have any Super Bowl wins other than Super Bowl 4. And Buffalo, at the very least, probably goes to at least one Super Bowl. So, yeah, sure. I'm sure Bills fans are happy with Josh Allen, but you traded a pick to Kansas City that prevented you from succeeding. The Bills have the fact that the Bills are not even seeing a Super Bowl with Josh Allen yet, and they still have time, but they should have had one by now. But because they traded that 10th pick to Kansas City, which led to a Patrick Mahomes selection, that is why you're not seeing the Super Bowl. Because as great as your quarterback might be, the pick you traded to Kansas City and the player they selected is better than your quarterback. I mean, everyone kept talking about Mahomes going on the road. Well, he went on the road in Buffalo and he still won. Come on. And by the way, let's be completely honest here, because a lot of people are saying, well, Chiefs are lucky that Tyler Bass missed. Tyler Bass is lucky to even have an opportunity to tie the game. It should have been a 10-point game until McCole Hardman fumbled at the 1 and the ball went into the end zone on a very crucial error from both execution and play calling. So you tell me who was really lucky to even have a chance to be in the game. But going back to the offense with the Chiefs, the left side of the offensive line, very vulnerable with Joe Thuney out, Donovan Smith, who did play well last week against that very good Bills defensive line. Can he do that again against a better defense and a healthier defense? Remains to be seen, because they're going to blitz. Patrick Mahomes used to be dominant when facing pressure. This year, not so much. So what's going to happen in this game? Well, so far, a guy like Marquez Valdes-Scantling, in the playoffs, 3 catches, but 2 of them were huge catches against the Bills last week. And I think ultimately Patrick is starting to not only find a groove, get into a rhythm, but I think he now has confidence in a guy like Marquez Valdes-Scantling. Yeah, he's had a couple of big drops, one against the Eagles, one against the Bengals. We know that, but ultimately, with this Chiefs team, they're playing better. Rashee Rice is no longer just a rookie. This guy's playing like a typical number 1 receiver. He's playing like what you want out of a veteran who is a number 1 receiver. So, and by the way, you have a guy named Travis Kelce who's very, very good, as a lot of you know. So Mahomes does have options. If you're blitzing and if you're trying to double team multiple pass catchers, that's going to leave someone wide open, whether it's a Marquez Valdes-Scantling, maybe a Rashee Rice, or maybe that's Justin Watson, or I'll even throw Justin Ross' name in there. McCole Hardman, I know a lot of people may be down on him, and I said last night, maybe there's a chance the Chiefs still continue to use him, because Andy Reid loves to not shy away from situations. Let him try to redeem himself. I know a lot of people may not agree with that, but don't be shocked if Andy Reid tries to open up an opportunity like that for McCole Hardman. Yeah, going back to the Chiefs defense, I was mentioning how the Chiefs defense had been going up against a lot of great receivers this year, but they haven't faced a rushing unit as great as Baltimore. That's the biggest difference for the Chiefs coming into this game. So stopping the run and Derek Nottie being absent is certainly going to hurt. But they do have Mike Pennell, who was huge a few years ago when the Chiefs picked him up midseason and brought him in as a run stopper, and that helped out a lot. But that was a few years ago. Is he still the same player he was at the time? We'll find out. We'll see how much playing time he gets in this game. But that is the guy the Chiefs elevated for the second week in a row to try to use him. Against this Ravens high-powered run offense. Very good rushing team too. Yeah, certainly got to be ready for all things here. Because if you can force third and long, yeah, sure, you're expecting the Ravens to pass, but even then, don't be shocked if the Ravens try to run. Asking Lamar Jackson on 3rd and 10, 3rd and 11, 3rd and 12 to let a play develop, and once he sees a wide open lane, asking him to run for 10, 11, 12 yards is not it's not a big thing to ask from Lamar. If there's the lane, he'll do it, and he can do it. That's why a couple of you guys keep saying this in the chat. I'm not reading every single comment here, but I'm skimming through and I'm reading some of the comments. A lot of people are saying that you got to have the spy ready. Yeah, that is more crucial than ever in this game. What is your guys' score prediction for this game? Because I got last week's game right, 27-20. If there was one good thing from the McCole Hardman fumble, it's that I got the score prediction correct. Exactly correct. But I will go 24-20 Kansas City. That is my score prediction. I think you'll see the Chiefs make a couple of mistakes. But I also think Baltimore will make some errors that they typically don't make in a game. Yeah, I know Lamar Jackson turning the ball over just 9 times this year in total, interceptions and lost fumbles. That's a really good number, and I think that's something a lot of people are leaning towards. But you're facing a defense that you haven't really faced this season. This type of defense is going to challenge them for sure. So I'm very curious to see how this matchup goes. It is good. This is a really fun matchup. I think if you're a Chiefs or a Ravens fans, yeah, you're obviously like heavily invested in this game emotionally and everything. But if you're not a fan of either team, you don't have a strong rooting interest, this is going to be a fun matchup to watch. It really will be on both sides of the ball. So who's going to break? We'll see. So yeah, I am going 24-20. That is going to be my prediction, my score prediction. I'll read some of your guys' score prediction very soon. I'll read a few more comments. Yeah, a lot of you guys talking about Rashee Rice. Yeah, there's a really good comment from AJ. And I didn't mention Richie James on the Red Friday live chat or on the podcast. And I was thinking about this last night. I'm like, wait a minute. I kind of forgot about Richie James. This guy had been playing well in the month of December for the Chiefs when, Kadarius Toney has not been playing for quite some time. And by the way, it should be noted, the reason Kadarius Toney had the personal note on the injury report is because he and his family welcomed a baby girl to the world. So congratulations to KT and his family. Yes, very exciting moment for him indeed. So that is why he has been ruled out for this game. Can certainly understand why he's not there. And he's still dealing with that hip injury, which... I don't know. Like, if the Chiefs do play again in 2 weeks, is he going to be available? I don't know. Andy Reid made it sound like he was very close to playing a couple of weeks ago. Now, again, he's got a personal matter right now he's dealing with, but I don't really know. But yeah, get Richie James involved. Another fast guy who hasn't really been a liability on offense, but that also is because he hasn't been used a whole lot on offense this year. Yeah, a lot of guys want to see Rice have a big game. Yeah, 2 good rookies here, Robert. Who will have the better game, Rice or Flowers? Both good rookie receivers. Yeah. There have been some very good rookie receivers this year. Puka Nacua, Rice, Flowers. Who's going to have the better game? I think even with Mark Andrews coming back, By the way, to the person commenting constantly, no sound, turn your volume up because everyone else seems to be able to respond to what I'm saying. Hopefully they figured that out by now because that was a couple minutes ago that comment was sent. Um, but to answer your question, Robert, who do I think will have the better game? Probably Flowers. And I say that not because I think badly of Rice, but because Flowers is probably their best pass catcher. You have Mark Andrews coming back. Isaiah Likely's been playing very well in his place since that injury in mid-November. But with the Chiefs, Rice is not the only option. And the defenses are kind of at a point now where you cannot double team the same guy. You have to account for all guys, because if you double team Kelsey and you double team Rice, well, Marquez Valdes-Scantling, who, has kind of redeemed himself a little bit lately, if he gets a catch in wide open space, good luck, because he does have the speed to destroy your defense and go very far. A lot of people love to criticize Mahomes and say that his passing yard numbers are inflated with yards after the catch. Well, don't double team everyone, and maybe Mahomes will not have inflated passing yards numbers like that. But when you do that kind of thing to Kelsey and to Rice, you do allow Mahomes to kind of feast on that kind of stat if you leave guys like Justin Watson, MVS wide open. Richie James, another guy we've talked about. McCole Hardman, we know what kind of speed he has if he can hold on to the football. And, let's not forget about the running backs. The Chiefs love to use running backs in the passing game under Andy Reid's offense. He's been doing that for years, even in Philadelphia. So certainly something to account for in this football game. Okay, I'm going to read some of you guys the scores that you've been commenting about in the last few minutes. Elaine says 27-21, 27-24 from David, 35-31 Lisa, 35-31 Chiefs. I don't know. From AJ, Chris says 28-24, 28-21 from Bud, 24-10 Ben. Okay, Ben's feeling pretty good. 27-17. Michael's feeling pretty good. Okay, I'm seeing some two-score predictions here. All right. Robert says Mahomes gonna have 300 plus yards. Bro, you are taking the over on this one, aren't you? 2 touchdowns, no picks, 70 plus yards for Pacheco and a touchdown. Okay, man, Robert, I hope you're hitting the over on all of those things right there, because you're taking home a lot of money for that one. I love it. Jackson had at least 6 fumbles this year and 7. Yeah, he had 7 interceptions, but lost 2 fumbles. He's had a couple fumbles. I don't know if he's had 6 fumbles. I saw 3, but I could be wrong there. Butker for the win, Robert says. Steven says 24-20. Okay, we're starting to see some 3-score games here. Or winning by 3, rather, I should say. Jure goes with 28-20. All right. Oh, by the way, before I forget, real quickly, because I'm starting to put a lot more content. I shouldn't say a lot. We just started doing it. Please. If I can spell right while talking, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. I just commented. For those of you who are watching on YouTube, obviously don't worry about it. But for those of you watching on Facebook, if you would please subscribe to the YouTube channel. We've been getting some new subscribers lately, which is great. I'm gonna start putting a lot more video content on there, as well as Instagram and TikTok. But YouTube would be the one I would definitely appreciate the most. If you guys have TikTok, I know not all of you do, but if you guys do, please look for the Chief Zone as well. Just TikTok.com/@theChiefZone. And please follow that as well, because we're going to start putting a lot more video content on there. Yeah, Natalie. Well, in 2021, the Chiefs didn't beat Baltimore. If you remember that game, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, that was his second year with the team. He fumbled when the Chiefs, had the ball inside 2 minutes and they had control of the clock. All they needed was to set up for the field goal. And if they get that, Mahomes is 4-0 all time against Lamar Jackson. So let's see if the Chiefs can be better about that this time around. Oh, but by the way, let me say one other thing, because with the offense, and I know, both the Dolphins and the Bills defense were banged up, but at the same time, there were still people who wrote off the Chiefs in those games. But in the Dolphins game, the Chiefs did have a second touchdown from Rashee Rice. Thrown to him. It was called back because of a penalty by Jawan Taylor that he absolutely didn't have to do, because Rice was way too ahead of the play there, the play where the penalty happened. Last week against the Bills, You have McCole Hardman, who fumbled at the 1, giving the ball to the Bills in the end zone. So you have situations where the Chiefs have been able to move the ball and have been able to put themselves in position to score more into the 30s, but they haven't done that yet because of mistakes of their own. So if the Chiefs can play smart, take care of the football, not make these stupid mistakes, you've got a chance to score in the 30s. Where's my optimism level on that? Not too high. Not too high. Read a few more scores here. 30-24 Robert. Ray says 28-24. Tommy says Chiefs by 7. Yes, that is true, Lisa. Colt says 27-24, same as last week. Peter is saying 38-10 Ravens. Too much defense, Casey won't be able to breathe. Okay, all right. I've already read. So, okay, we're starting to get repeat commenters here. Sarah says 34-28 Ravens. Okay. Robert, did you just give a prediction or did you change it? But anyway, he says 30-21. Okay, or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I have it confused for someone else. Okay. Layla says 27-20. Okay, good. 2 comments in a row, 31-28. Okay. All right. I see you guys. Got your picks in. A lot of you guys feeling pretty good. Yeah, appreciate you guys subscribing. Thank you guys. Yeah, the YouTube and the TikTok, that is the most important one. I'll be putting more on Instagram as well, but those are the 2 that I'll be using the most. So would definitely appreciate you guys using that. Can you link my YouTube? I just did. Here, I'll do it one more time. There. If it shows up, there we go. So that is the YouTube link right there. So please subscribe. Oh, you did change it. Okay. I'm like, am I crazy or what? So, okay. I'm not crazy. I mean, I am, but not in that moment there. Okay, guys, I'm going to let you all go. I got some things to do. Can't comment on the YouTube. Okay. I'm seeing people from YouTube comment, so check your settings if you haven't already. All right, guys. We covered a lot of ground. I appreciate you guys joining me this morning. If you haven't had breakfast yet, go get yourself some breakfast. Feel like a champion. I'm gonna go run some errands, and then we will be back to talk about the game. Obviously, players are starting to pull in about an hour and a half, so we'll start seeing some of those. Reminder, we'll be back at halftime to recap the first half and preview the second half. And then after the game, win or lose, we are doing the Chiefs Zone podcast live with your call-ins. I'll have the link ready, and I want to hear from all of you guys calling in. And listen, win or lose, I think we'll have a lot of people that want to call in. So if you do click the link to call in, please be patient. I'm sure a lot of people are going to try to get in. Eric says, just can't subscribe to your OnlyFans. The white people will get upset. Yeah, I don't think anyone would want to subscribe to my OnlyFans anyway. I wouldn't even want to subscribe to my own OnlyFans. Listen, man, there are people who make a shit ton of money on OnlyFans, and good on them. Good on them. Okay, we're talking about OnlyFans. I gotta stop this shit. Okay, guys, happy Sunday, happy game day. Peace out. Talk to you all later.